Welcome, my friends, to a place where we share inspiration and positivity. Welcome, friends, to our video dedicated to Barbara Kluntz. Let's dive right in and uncover its wonders. Barbara Kluntz, born 5 February 1661 in Ulm, married 22 May 1730 in Ulm, was a German composer and music teacher. On all of her book titles, she calls herself Barbara Kluntz, the noble music art lover. In order to explicitly emphasize her position, she did not consider herself a professional musician. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore biography through a fresh lens, unlocking new perspectives. Barbara Kluntz, called Schneider-Babel, was the daughter and third child of the tailor Peter Kluntz and his wife Katharina Kluntz, Messerschmidt. She joined the charitable Third Order of the Ulm Collection women who were evangelicals after the Reformation. The monastery-like association also owned several villages around Ulm and was located on Ulmer Franzstrasse at the corner of Samlungsvis. The building was destroyed in World War II. Since the women who entered the order did not have to take any vows, Barbara Kluntz was not a nun. As we venture forward, let's examine entry into the Ulm Collection Foundation in detail and gain a deeper appreciation for its significance. When she entered the collection, Barbara Kluntz was widely known as a piano virtuoso, organ player and poet, according to older research. Excerpts from her will, which no longer exists, show that she had her own organ, a clavichord, many books, and music. How Barbara Kluntz came to her skills and what position her father had as a tailor within the Ulm Tailors Guild is not yet known. Until then, only patrician women had been included in the collection. Why Barbara Kluntz only joined the collection at the age of 44 remains to be explored. Her musical activities can only be documented when she joined the collection in 1704. So far, no evidence can be found about her childhood, early and late adolescence. Barbara Kluntz was not married. She moved into the collection under her maiden name and as a maid. Her vocal and instrumental music making was probably dedicated to purely religious purposes. She also taught her colleagues, their students and many patrician daughters, in clavier playing. Her great role model was the French poet Georgette de Montenay, whose portrait she had included in her chorale book from 1711. In this section, we'll be exploring contacts and concerts. Barbara Kluntz maintained contacts in Berlin through correspondence and probably had the latest musical works sent from there so that she could study and perform them. She probably accompanied herself and others herself on the clavichord and on the organ. Since the Ulm Collection women were free to move around the city and in the monastery, it can be assumed that the Ulm Collection was a center of Ulm music practice alongside the permanently employed Ulm city performers and the emerging theater business. In the next portion, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of poetry and examining its broader implications. In addition to music, Barbara Kluntz also wrote many poems that she published in her chorale books, including a work that expresses her joy and vitality. Die Davids Harp in Himmel klingt, Waldem, der mit mir Flick singt. Lotheres singt uns allen wir, nach Gottes Wort für den Tenor. Wir singen nach und schwitzen mit, und Gott nimmt uns solch Lob anbit. Wer nun Gott fürcht und hat mich gern, der singt mit mir zu Gott dem Herrn. Choralwick 1711. Barbara Kluntz must have been very familiar with the French language, as she quoted her role model Georgette de Montenay in her chorale book from 1711 and presumably knew their works in the original. With this, Barbara Kluntz entered a tradition of outstanding women who put their literary and musical talents and gifts into the service of the praise of God. With the foundation laid, let's embark on a journey into Choralwick 1711. The 245 chorales of the magnificently handwritten choral music book from 1711 are recorded only with title and partly without text. The melodies are set to chords with up to 6 voices, whereby the settings can suddenly switch between full voices and two-part passages. Occasionally, Barbara Kluntz also offers alternative suspensions to a chorale melody on the same page. In her works, Barbara Kluntz often used the fifths and octaves in parallel, and the third is just as often missing in the movements despite 4 and 5 voices. This could be an indication that she learned her art autodidactically, since the use of the third had long been common at this point in music history. At the end of her first chorale book, Barbara Kluntz puts her happiest credo, her way of viewing music. Ich will nicht sagen, wie viel Gott in Musik ist verborgen, Gott und Menschen sie gefallen hat, Musik vertritt die Sorgen, Musik verjagt die Traurigkeit, Musik den Geist ernährt, Musik macht Lust, und kurs die Zeit, und Jugend zerfriert. Musik lieb ich, so lang ich leb, und flick mein Stimm erb, und sing, o Musik. Himmelskunst, du bist wert oder und Gunst, Choralbook 1711. In the upcoming portion, we'll be dissecting posthumous situation to gain a comprehensive understanding of its implications. It remains to be researched what happened to Barbara Kluntz's further legacy, such as the instruments and sheet music. A resolution of the City Council of Ulm forbade the collection women to bequeath goods to one another in order to give them as little power and financial influence in the city as possible. Only a surviving excerpt from a no longer preserved artifact from the Ulm Collection Foundation, dated 10 December 1728, from the back of Barbara Kluntz's oil portrait, shows that she wrote a lost will at least 2 years before her death. Barbara Kluntz bequeathed her music, sheet music and clavichord to the in-house chapel and decided that her organ should go to the Protestant church in Erzingen. However, after the Ulm collection was dissolved, the organ was, according to Ilse Schultz, taken to a German school. Barbara Kluntz's music was probably destroyed in the Second World War by the bombing raids on Ulm, which destroyed the Ulm collection. As we progress through this video, let's now turn our gaze towards archives. Barbara Kluntz's grave is also considered lost. Only her 2 remaining chorale books and her portrait in oil by an unknown artist are preserved. There are also 2 pages of her second, missing chorale book from 1717. Barbara Kluntz was portrayed in the typical collection uniform of that time. With her left hand she points to a small cross, as she writes in almost all of her songs and poems. Her music, which she holds in front of her as a chorale book, comes from God. Writing implements refer to her work as a poet and composer. A lemon in the foreground, which was a luxury item shown in the original oil portrait, Ulm Museum, signifies high status. Her own organ is likely in the background. The diverse activities of Barbara Kluntz as a collector, music teacher, composer, organist, and piano player are unparalleled for the Ulm area and in general for her age. As we progress, let's shine a spotlight on works and examine its intricate interplay within our topic. 3 chorale books from 1711, 1717 lost and 1720. With a total of more than 500 individual compositions of sacred songs, chants and arias Statute of Ulm. General Base Schlien C 1720. Lost. Laudit Jehovah T Ulmer 9 Strific Latin hymn with the melody of None o Gott as a hymn to Barbara Kluntz's hometown Choralbook 1711. Totenlied von Anna Maria Reiser Sammlungs für auf den Tod Barbara Kluntz, publiziert von Daniel Ringke in ein verschollenen Sammelband. Portrait der Barbara Kluntz von einem unbekannten Künstler Ulmer Museum in 1928.6048. Don't forget to check out my other videos for more valuable content.